Hi, I'm Victoria Pearson, but you can call me V. And this week we were going to be doing a little paint with me session. Because I have very nearly finished a new acrylic on canvas painting. I'm going to be putting it up on my Ko-fi store when it's done, and I was really excited to show you the process. I just had a few finishing touches to do yesterday. However, the fates do not like when I make plans, and that has become increasingly evident recently. But I'm also starting to think that I'm under some kind of car curse, or I've upset Hephaestus in some way. Because here's the thing. On Friday, a fuse in my husband's moped went in his bike, and so he needed to get a new one to fit into it. And they couldn't get the part in until the Saturday, but that was fine. He could leave his bike at work. The place where he needed to pick the part up from was right near that, and so I was going to drive him into work. He was going to fix this fuse, and we were going to go home, and I was going to spend the rest of the day painting. So we get to work uneventfully, and he picks up the part uneventfully, and I take him to work, and he says, "You can go home now if you want." And I said, "No, I'll wait until you fixed it, and I know that you can get home safe." And he said to me, "Actually, whilst you're here, my electric push bike is also here at work, and I need to get that home as well, so I might as well put that in your car too." Now, I have a very small car, and electric push bikes are not very small, and so I ended up having to put all of the seats except my own down, and it only really fit in there because I have very short legs, and so my seat has to be all the way forward when I'm driving, otherwise I can't reach the pedals with my little legs. And so managed to squeeze this electric bike into the car. I hung around for a couple of hours while he twiddled about with things on his bike because the fix wasn't quite as simple as he'd hoped it would be. And then he drove it around the industrial estate a little bit to make sure it felt okay, and we set off. I said to him, "I'm going to follow you just in case." And it's just as well that I did, because a little way away from his work, but not really that close to home yet, he took an unexpected turn into a little village and came to a stop and told me that he had mechanical problems with his bike and he needed to fix it, but we didn't have any tools. So I then drove back into town to go to my brother-in-law and pick up his tools and come back, and my husband tried to fix it and he couldn't. And so my brother-in-law came out and he tried to fix it and he couldn't. And so in the end, we ended up having to call breakdown service. Breakdown service were going to be a considerable amount of time. We're talking like 5-6 o'clock when we had set out at 9 in the morning. And so it was a lot. And so he said to me, "You know what, I will just wait here. I've got water, I've got sunscreen on, I'm fine. You go home and feed the children who we'd left at home." Now, just in case you're a new viewer here, I should point out that the children that I've left at home are 18, 19, and 10, nearly 11. And so they were perfectly fine fending for themselves for the afternoon. The teenager was quite happy to watch the younger one. But I had said to them that I would only be a couple of hours, so they were getting quite angsty at this point. So I said, "Yeah, I'll go home and I'll cook dinner, and when you've been towed back to work, I will come and pick you up." And I set off, and a few miles down the road, I also broke down, which was just an absolute nightmare, really. I mean, I did know that my car was due for a new clutch. It was starting to go, and the mechanic did say to me that it was going to be quite imminent when he changed my brakes just 10 days ago. And so I did know it was coming, but I did hope that I would get a few months out of it. It's a bit of a nightmare for it to have happened now when I have just paid £900 for a dental crown that I really didn't have either. And so now I have to find £450 for a new clutch as well. And also I know that my wheel bearing is imminently going to go too, which is probably going to cost another £300 or £400. And so I am not feeling too pleased with my car at the moment. I'm not feeling too pleased with vehicles and transportations in general. But I do have to say, one thing that was lovely about yesterday was the amount of people who stopped to help. When we were in the village trying to fix my husband's bike, somebody came out of their house and offered us tools and water and kept checking that we were okay when we'd been there for a long time, which was lovely. When I broke down, I was turning into a side street. I was on a bit of a junction. And to be honest, quite a few people started shouting and swearing at me like I had just done that for funsies. I thought, you know what would be great? I'm going to stop on a junction of a high-speed road and just try and push my car. Unsuccessfully, I must say. And now I've hurt my good shoulder as well. So fantastic. But one person did stop and helped me push my car out of traffic, made sure that I was actually safe, that I had breakdown cover and that it was on its way, which it was, so that was okay. And because I had broken down on a busy junction, which isn't usually a busy junction, actually, I had chosen to go that way because my car had started to make strange noises and smell bad, and I thought, oh gosh, my clutch is about to go. I'm going to go the quiet way rather than through the busy intersection that comes off the motorway. Turns out that was a mistake, because what I didn't know was that the motorway was closed right then, and everybody who had been stuck on the motorway for 7 hours in this awful heat had been redirected to the quiet back road that I decided to go down because I thought it would be safer to break down in a quiet area. And so a lot of very irate people who were already very annoyed were then obstructed by me and decided to have a good old shout at me about it. But like I say, one person did stop and helped me push my car, and so it was less of an obstruction. It was more sort of half on the path and round the corner a bit more, so that it wasn't causing a big issue. But because it had been on that busy junction, my RAC cover came out really, really quickly. I must have been lucky that there was somebody in the area already, and I was just so thankful that they came out that quickly, because at this point I had been sat outside in the heat all day long without a hat, and I'd run out of water by this point, and I was about 3 miles from home, and I could have cried at how close I was to getting home. I just wanted to get home, feed the children, and be in the shade and the cool for a little while. But yeah, they came out very, very quickly. They were really, really helpful. They towed me to my local garage. I have not told my local garage that it's there yet, because they were closed when we arrived. I am hoping that they won't be too cross that I've left my car in the MOT bay. I'm sure they'll be all right with it, because they were fine last time it happened. I really need to manifest myself a more reliable car, I think. If you would like to help contribute to me getting a new clutch for my car so I can continue to do things and go places and show them to you, my Ko-fi link is below. You can just hit the tip jar and it will transfer money directly to me. I can't ever see your bank details or anything like that when you do it, and so it's quite a safe and anonymous way to do it. If you want to do it anonymously, you can, and I would be greatly appreciated of any donations towards it, because like I said, I've just paid out £900 for a dental crown, which also wasn't a fun experience. I am actually so tired of spending money on things that I did not enjoy. Dental care, did not enjoy it. £900. Mechanical repairs, do not enjoy them. Looking at £1,000 altogether for all the things that have been done recently and still need to be done. Do not get me started on the amount I have to pay to try and squeeze into a tiny little parking space in town and have a little anxiety attack while everybody builds up behind me going, hurry up. Why are the things that we do not enjoy so expensive? I would like to spend my money on things that I do enjoy. Anyway, hopefully next week I will be back telling you about something that I did enjoy, which will be that painting, because I think I only have about half an hour to an hour's work left on it. It's very finishing touches level, and so I'm looking forward to sharing that with you. Next week as well, we were supposed to be going to see Sassy and talking to her about her new book, but I really don't think that my car is going to be repaired on time, and so I have absolutely no idea when I'm going to be able to reschedule that for, but I do hope that it's soon. Either way, I will be here on Monday doing a vlog about something, hopefully not telling you my woeful tales of breaking down twice in the same day. And if you can't wait until then to see me again, I will be here every single morning in your shorts, taking a great big deep breath, letting you know what I'm grateful for, sometimes letting you know what's challenging me, because by gosh, it has been challenging recently. And I'll also be here on a Witchy Wednesday doing an intuitive tarot card pull for you as well. If you think, oh, you can't be that intuitive because you broke down, let me just add on to the end here, the bit that I forgot to tell you of this story. When we left in the morning, I said to my children, I'll be back in 2 hours, unless we both break down. I got into the car, started it, and then thought, I should grab a bag. I should go out prepared. And so I went and grabbed a water bottle, some sunscreen, and a book. That was really handy. And as I left my husband, he said, "See you at home later," as I left him by the roadside. And I said, "If my car makes it home." I really should have listened to my intuition and just got him a taxi. Although if I'd done that, the next time I planned to use my car was to go on the motorway. So I'm kind of glad that I broke down when I did. And I think that is a good lesson in trying to have an attitude of gratitude and see the bright side of everything. Because although yesterday was a bit of a nightmare, we were all safe and it all could have been a lot worse. And that is how I managed to find a little bit of daily gratitude, even on the worst day. You have yourself a magical week.